Wall Street screwed you once. Here's how to avoid being screwed again. We have to bust up the biggest Wall Street banks. When Americans think of how the economic rules are stacked against them, they naturally think of Wall Street. When the Wall Street bubble burst in 2008 because of excessive risk-taking, millions of working Americans lost their jobs, health insurance, savings, and homes. In the big picture, when the financial sector expands, economic inequality widens. When Wall Street gets too much power, the rest of us often lose, and it's bad for the economy. Banking should be boring, not like going to a casino. The street is back to many of its old tricks, and its lobbyists are busily rolling back the Dodd-Frank Act, which was intended to prevent another crash. The biggest Wall Street banks are also much larger than they were in 2008. The street's 5 largest banks hold about 44% of America's banking assets. That's up from about 10% in 1990. And as they've gained dominance over the financial sector, they've become more politically potent. They're major sources of campaign funds for both Republicans and Democrats. What should be done? Well, first, resurrect the Glass-Steagall Act that used to separate investment from commercial banking. Also, put a small federal tax on every Wall Street trade to discourage speculation and slow down the casino. A small transactions tax would also generate tens of billions each year for, say, better schools. But the most important thing we should do is bust up the big banks. Any bank that is too big to fail is too big, period. Wall Street's allies will call it radical, but we've done it before. When the big oil trusts got too big in the early part of the 20th century and the telephone monopoly later on, we used antitrust laws to break them up. The idea was to prevent too much economic and political power from concentrating in too few hands. And today it's happening all over again with Wall Street. The only sure way to stop excessive risk-taking on Wall Street, so you don't risk losing your job or your savings or your home, is to put an end to the excessive economic and political power of Wall Street by busting up the big banks.